Hello and welcome to my channel Making Crafts. So today I'm going to be making a mini album, but this time instead of making one from scratch like I normally do, I am using a pre-made mini album because this is going to be a lot quicker. So I was so excited to see that the Rubber Buggy now has pre-made, this one's called a Folio Slim, and it isn't exactly a mini album, but this is what I'm going to use it for. And but they do have all kinds of different ones in stock now, and so I wanted to make one with you all and show you how easy it is to create it. So first I just want to show you the one I ordered. So I ordered the Memory Hardware Folio Slim by Frank Garcia, and I will link to all this stuff like I always do because this is my design team project. And so this one is just really a folio, and then here is like your pages for your mini album. So it's really just like a waterfall album. And so I'm really excited to use this one because what I was thinking was we're going into spring with Easter and Mother's Day, and so that's when my family gets together. So I'm excited to go ahead and make the mini album up, or the folio up, whichever you want to call it, and then I'll be ready just to add photos after I get the photos this spring. So it has, I forget how many pages, it tells you on the front here. So it features 8 pages measuring 4 by 5, and the album itself measures 8 by 5.5 by 2.5, and it's very chunky. So you see here, what you're seeing inside here is this box that holds the space. So these I can really add embellishments to and chunk them up if I want to, and it's not going to get so full that it doesn't close. And I'm thinking over here is enough room that maybe we should add a pocket or add something. I'm not sure what we're going to add yet, but I just wanted to show you this one. And then here are the pages I'm going to be using. This is Grandma's Attic by Mintay papers, and I did not buy the pack of paper. I just bought individual sheets. Let me show them to you. Individual sheets from the Rubber Buggy, and so they do sell these individually, so you can pick out which ones you want, and if you want more than one of the prints, and if there's a print that you didn't want, then you wouldn't have to get that print. So let me show you all of them, and then I'm going to pause the video and go ahead and cut my pieces, and then I'll come back and give you all the measurements for what you need for this album. And so this is the little cards, and then here are the fussy cuts, and I'll probably go ahead and cut out the fussy cuts. So I wanted you to see all the papers before I start cutting on them. And so I'm just going to show you how quickly we can put this together. Now I am not going to paint this one, so if you're following along, if you want to paint your mini album, you can. These can be painted with like acrylic paints or whatever, and you know, paint around the edges and stuff so that when you cover it with the paper, you see a different color. But I feel like this paper has the browns in it, and I really think it's going to look good on the craft cardstock or craft color cardstock. So I'm not going to paint mine, but if you wanted to paint yours, you can paint these. So I'm starting out by cutting my paper for the waterfall pages, and so I'm just cutting a strip of paper off the top of the 12 by 12, and it's about 4 1/8. So when I'm starting measuring the pages, I realize that the measurements on the front of the journal are not exact, they're approximate. So what you want to do is just measure your pages. I've decided to cover the waterfall pages completely with no brown showing around them. So I'm cutting it to the exact measurements of the waterfall pages, and I think mine was about 4 1/8 by 4 7/8. And then for the other pieces, I'm going to cut those down. But what I did was I measured for my cover and for the strips that go in it, I measured the height, and then I measured the width of each section, and I subtracted approximately 1/4 inch, so there'll be an 1/8 inch border around each side. So hopefully that makes sense. So you'll just want to measure yours because there's so many different albums by Frank Garcia, and we have several in the Rubber Buggy shop, that I don't want to give these measurements in case you do get a different one, and then you'll cut your paper, you know, for the wrong one. So just be sure to measure, and then just, if you want to cover the entire area, then you would just cut the measurements of that area. Or if you are like me and you want to leave a border around some of the areas, then you'll just take about 1/4 inch off. So I've got all of my pieces cut, and I did not ink the pages yet. I'm going to ink around the edges of all of these pieces, but so far I've just inked the edges for the cover and the inside the cover. Then as I decide which ones are going on pages, I'll ink those, and then I'll also ink these cards if I use them. So I do have to say that I should have bought at least 1 or 2 more sheets of paper. I'm cutting it really close, and this is all I have left. I have a few strips over here to the side, little pieces like this, and I have the pieces that were left over from cutting the pages, some of these pieces, and then this is all I have left, my fussy cuts and 1 more strip of paper. So, or 1 little partial strip of paper. So it probably would have been best if I had ordered just another sheet, just so I was sure to have extra. I did make a few mistakes cutting, so when you do that, you do run out, but I still think I probably could have used an extra sheet even if I hadn't messed up cutting. And so I'm going to go ahead and work on adding the inside first, and then we'll work on the outside. So for the inside, I'm going to put this strip here, and I've cut this strip for here, and then this one. So that's how I'm going to get started, and then I have something different I'm going to do here. So for the first one here, I cut it at 5 1/4 by 8. So all of the heights are 8. It's just the width that's different. And so I'm going to have the brown showing around the edge, and I did lightly ink around the edges with some dark brown ink. And I think I'm going to use my Fabri-Tac today to add these, because my other glue is drying really fast in the house right now where it's so warm in here. And so this is going to be a really easy album to put together. The major part is just cutting all your pieces out. And I didn't go ahead and cut my fussy cuts, but I will be adding those later. So I will cut those out later to do that. So really this album is so simple. Since you're not having to construct anything, you're just decorating. You just cut your paper out and add it to the album. So I'm just going to decorate first the outside and inside, the strips that go on the inside as well as the cover and outside. I'm just going to add my paper to that, and I'm not going to actually add my decorations until later on, but I am going to go ahead and cover all of those places first, and then I will come back and decorate the waterfall pages. So for the cover and the inside parts of this journal or mini album, I did leave about 1/4 inch around each piece of paper. Like I said before, when I did the measurements, I measured it, and then I left about 1/4 inch, cut it 1/4 inch smaller, so that way there'd be about 1/8 inch around all of the pieces. Now for the waterfall, you're going to see that I cut those to the exact measurements. I didn't do that for those, but I just thought it looked really good to frame out these pages with the craft cardstock color. Now if you painted yours, you definitely would want to cut it a bit smaller so that you could see the edges that you painted. But I really thought with this paper, the brown went really good with the background in this paper, so I did not worry about painting this one. So for the waterfall pages, it's fairly simple. Once again, we're going to glue our papers on. Now this is when I'm going to start adding more to my journal, or to my mini album. I'm going to not just add papers to the waterfall pages, but I'm going to add some other little details, some tuck spots and some flip outs. So I'm just showing you here how I'm adding some of the pages to the waterfall. It's fairly simple, straightforward. Nothing really hard to do. Now I will show you this part first before we start decorating. I ran out of paper. I should have ordered just another sheet, maybe just 1 more sheet, and I would have been okay, but I didn't. So what I did was I cut what I had left down, and then it wasn't big enough to cover that bottom spot, so I then just cut a smaller strip to make a pocket. And I think I love how the pocket turned out. So for the side here, once again, I was out of paper. I didn't have a long enough and wide enough strip to put here. So I'm just taking 2 of the cut-offs from where we cut down the waterfall pages. I'm piecing them together, even though they're not from the same page. I'm piecing those together, And then I'm going to come back and I'll decorate where they connect. So you'll never see that it was two pieces. But I thought this worked just fine for this paper because all of them go so well together. So now let's just decorate the cover. I have fussy cut out all of the little fussy cuts from the page, and I'm just adding those to my cover. And I am going to pop up this piece here where I'm adding the light bulb to, or the little light fixture. I'm adding it to this little piece here, and this wasn't from the fussy cuts, this was from the card pages. I forget what size cards they were, but they were like little cards. And so what I am doing is I'm popping that up with some foam tape, and then I'm just adding a lot of the flowers and different decorations around it. I absolutely love the fussy cuts that come with paper packs. I think that they really add to it. So that's why when I ordered these, I didn't order the paper pack, I ordered separate sheets, but I made sure I got the fussy cut sheet because that's where all your decorations are. And I love cutting them apart and layering them up on my pages or on like this for the cover. So once I get everything laid out like I like it, then I'm just going to glue everything down using my Fabri-Tac. And so I'm just going to use my Fabri-Tac for the entire journal, or entire mini album. I'm used to saying journal, but this is a mini album. Now I like to lay everything out, and then I will start gluing down the things that has to be on the bottom first and work my way to the top. But that way everything is still laid out so that I can know exactly where I want everything to go. Because if I took it all off and then tried to glue it down, it's going to make it difficult to make sure that I get each flower and each leaf and greenery and pieces in the exact spot. So I just slowly work on it this way so that I don't have to recreate it each time. I like to lay it out, dry fit it, make sure everything looks good, and then just leave it there and pick up one piece at a time and glue it down. This paper pack is absolutely gorgeous. I love the colors in it. The turquoise and blues and browns, those are my colors, and I just loved working with this paper. I will link below to the paper in the store that's left of this. There are some left. The paper packs I think sold out, but you can still buy the individual pages like I did and, you know, make up your own paper pack. And I like doing that because if there is a paper in the pack that I didn't like, I can leave that out, which with this one, I don't think I left any of them out. I just really liked how they all looked. So now I'm just coming back with a little bit of lace. I'm just going to scrunch the lace up and glue it underneath my little cluster here. And so I'm just adding lace above this flower, and then I'll add more lace scrunched up below the flower. This pack is called Grandma's Attic, so I really thought Grandma's Attic needed to have lace, and you'll see in a few minutes I'm going to add some little pearls as well. I just felt like that added to this paper as well. And for the lace, I didn't do anything particular. I'm just, like I said, just scrunching it up and stuffing it in there. And so now I'm just going to come back with the little pearls, and these are the Spellbinder Pearl. I call them pearls, but I think they actually have a different name. But I was so excited to get this paper and try this mini album because I had always wanted to try making or decorating a mini album, one that I didn't have to actually put together, but one that I could just decorate. Because my favorite part of mini albums and journals a lot of times is the decorating. And I loved how quick this one came together because I didn't have to spend a lot of time on it. I was able to add the papers and the decorations and get it done in just one day. And so I look forward to adding the pictures to this one. I think I'm going to save this one and keep it for myself and add my spring photos like from Easter and Mother's Day to this little album. So I've just added just some pearls around the cluster, and I just mixed them up in different spots of the cluster, and then I'm coming back and just adding some pearls on the left hand side of the paper because I felt like it was a little plain with no decorations over there. So the little pearls just add a little bit of shine to that side of the cover. So now I've just taken some of the fussy cuts and I'm just making clusters, and instead of gluing these clusters, I stapled them together. And when I add this cluster to the page, I'm only going to glue around the bottom and left side. That way I have room to tuck my photo behind it. So now I'm coming in with one of the journaling cards, and what I've done is just scored about a 3/8 of an inch from the edge, and then I've just folded on that score line, and I'm making a little flip out. So this adds to these waterfall pages. You have room to journal behind it on this card, or I could add another photo to the back of the card and even to the front. Then another feature I'm adding to the journal is pockets. And so I created this pocket very easily by using one of the journaling cards, and I'm just gluing on 3 sides and attaching it to the waterfall page. So I'm just going to continue to decorate the pages, and then I'll come back and do a complete flip through. So here is the completed mini album, and you can see the cover here. I did go back and add some lace right here along the edge of the flap, and we did the cluster together and decorated the rest of the cover together, so I didn't change anything. So then there's a magnet in here. I didn't mention it before, there's a magnet that pulls this shut. So here you can see in the video where I had to connect 2 pieces of paper because I ran out of paper. I didn't have enough. So I just covered that up with another cluster. I just glued, well, I had my lace glued on. I glued my lace on, and then I glued the little cluster here across the strip so you can't even tell that, that it's 2 pieces of paper. And so over here I have left this side blank. And I'm not really sure. At first I thought I wanted to do a pocket or something, but when I got short on paper, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. But then the more I thought about it, I think it would look really good to put a photo here, or either a journaling card explaining what these photos are about. So I'm just going to leave this blank for now. And then here are the waterfall pages, and I hope I can get them all on camera. So we did this one together, and I did mention how I made this one a tuck spot. So I just glued along, well actually I didn't glue. I added foam tape just along the bottom here, and that way you can add your photo behind it. And then here's the flip out we made. I showed you how I made, where I just scored about 3/8 of an inch and then folded over, and it may be closer to maybe 1/4 of an inch or 3/8. I can't remember. Just wherever I thought looked good on the card, I scored it, and then I made a little flip out. And that way you can put a picture here, you can put a photo here and here if you wanted to. It adds more space for your mini album. And so here is another, let me see if I can find a card in here so I can take one and show you. Here is another little cluster, and I do make them so that you can tuck things behind them. I don't glue them completely down, and this one I did pop up as well. And then this is an actual pocket that I think I showed you how I created this one in the video. And so these are just fussy cuts from the fussy cut page, and then the journaling card into a pocket, so you can put more of these little journaling cards inside of it. And so then we have this page. I thought was just gorgeous. I left it plain because there was so much going on that page. And then I left that one plain, and I made another flip out here with a journaling card. And these are just so simple to add to this, but it really gives you more space to journal or more space to add photos. And so here, this page was just gorgeous. I just left it as is. And then we have this one. Once again, I need to get that card back out so I can show you. I popped it up, but I did make it so that you can fit a photo or anything in behind here if you wanted to. I also made another flip out here and just added a pearl to the journaling card and just created another little flip out. And I love this paper. It's absolutely gorgeous. Left this one plain because you'll be adding photos there anyway. That one and that one is plain as well. Here's another tuck spot. You can use it as a tuck spot, or you can put a photo behind it. And then we have our last page. And here, like I showed you in the video, I didn't have a big enough piece of paper, so I did add a strip here. And when I added the strip, I decided to make it a pocket, which I'm glad I did because I can tuck journaling cards in there, but I also could tuck little photos in there, or any type of memorabilia like tickets or receipts or anything if I wanted to save for whatever the occasion that I'm going to use this for. And this is just another one of the fussy cuts that I've cut straight across and added to the pocket to decorate it up. This one came together really fast, but it is absolutely gorgeous. I love this mini album, and I'm so glad that I gave it a try. There's several different more designs in the shop, so I'm hoping there's some still in stock. So I'm going to check it out and see, because I have so much fun doing these, and I think these would make great gifts as well for Mother's Day. You could do one in a theme like a baby theme, and put your baby's photos in here and give to the grandmother, or you can make these up very quickly if you wanted to for if you're taking your children Easter egg hunting or anything for spring events. You could make one up in no time at all for that. So I do love buying the pre-made mini albums. I wondered how I would feel about that, and I absolutely love it. You just get to enjoy yourself with the decorating portion of it. I like building mini albums, but sometimes I don't have the time, but I want to do something like this, and so I really enjoyed it. Well, I hope that you have enjoyed watching this video, and hopefully it has inspired you to create, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.